Hello, hello. Yo, it is hot here. It is hot. We haven't had rain. We have not had rain. My garden last year at this time was exploding, but it was also flooded. So, you know, there's like good and bad that comes here. But yeah, we've had no rain. And my plants are like, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. Well, I just put the hammer down and I was like, we are not using air conditioning anymore. You guys, the electricity bills, they're out of control. And I'm like, you know what? It's summer, be hot. I will use it sparingly. If there is a 96-degree day and everybody is suffering, I will allow the air conditioning. At this moment, no. So I put my foot down, I'm like, we will not. And so I'm sitting here like, woo, sweating. And I know you're like, well, why don't you take that shirt off? And I probably just should take the shirt off. I like to wear these shirts to not get sunburned, but I'm inside, so it's fine. So on the last video, a couple questions came in and I wanted to address those because they felt really, really important to me. And they're questions that I have of others all the time. Basically, like, how do you do that? How do you keep your kitchen clean? How do you do what you do? Raise 5 kids, put food on the table, grow your food, do a business. Like, I have those feelings about other people all the time because it is so hard to see a slice of someone's life and feel like you couldn't possibly. Like, how is this even possible? And I think the most important thing is it's a sliver. And even though I have tried always my whole like online career to say life is messy, it's chaotic, it's overwhelming, like it's real, it doesn't matter because I'm probably not gonna make a video about me like, you know, necessarily on my falling apart days. And not that that wouldn't be valid, but it doesn't feel, that wouldn't feel useful, right? So I'll tell you about one though, because it was yesterday. So yesterday, I had a bunch of things piling up and I went into the garden. So I get up around, it depends. I'll set the alarm so that I don't sleep much past 6, but typically I wake up on my own around 4:35 and then I just crawl out of bed whenever the need for a cup of coffee hits me. Or the chicken. Today the chicken got me out early because they're getting obnoxious earlier and earlier. Anyway, so I go out, I make my, first thing I do is make my coffee. I get it started. Bunny and I go outside, we let the chicken out of their coops into the run, but not into the yard because that early they tend to run away from home. Can't explain it, but they do. So I make sure they have water, and since I'm turning on the hose anyway, I'll water my seeds, and sometimes if I know there's something in the garden that's super suffering, I'll water it. Right now, I've had to carve out some times to water, which really adds a lot of time because it's not something that's not usual for this area. Anyway, where am I going? Okay, I come inside, I pour my coffee. This is summer routine. Summer routine. So we have 4 kids that live with us. 1 lives with her mom. 1 goes back and forth between houses. The 3 that I brought into our marriage relationship live here full time. So this summer, we have 1 home from college. We have 1 from high school, 2 from middle school. Basically, we have almost all teenagers. In 1 month, we will have all 5 will be teenagers. So what this looks like right now is 2 of them work at the same camp this summer. So at 7:45, we leave. At the same time we're leaving, 1 of them is getting up, getting ready for his camp, which Dave brings him to. And then our other one is a floater. He's playing football. That's starting soon. He has a very big social life that I can't even live up to or ever live up to. So he's always somewhere. And so I have basically in the morning, I have about, you know, two hours, pretty much 2 hours in the morning. And so if I have not done dishes the night before, mostly they're done. I never don't do some dishes, and I'll talk about this in a minute, but whatever's left, whatever's still sitting there gets washed. And I do this because the kids make their own breakfast. And if I don't have a clean space for them, that's a big ask of the kids to like be doing stuff in a messy kitchen. So that's a big motivation for me. I have other motivators, but that's a big one. And I make one of the kids' lunches, so I get that going and kind of cleaning up the kitchen and doing that and drinking my coffee and puttering around. And then I often will sit down for my second cup of coffee. They're both decaf, but I love coffee. And I will open the computer and just check in on a few things and then make sure kids are up and whatever. And then we get out of here at 7:45. And then I get back around 8:15. And then at that point, it just depends on what day it is. You know, do I have a work commitment? Is the garden needing something? The animals, do I have to drive another kid somewhere? We have Airbnb days where Dave and I literally drop kids at camp, go to New Hampshire, flip the house for the next guest, get back, pick the kids up from camp. So we usually do that once a week, but it can be 2 now. So that's a big thing that we've had to fit in. And then it just goes fast. Time goes so fast. If I go outside, it's gone. My time is gone. It's just like I go into a time warp where I'm like, how can it be 2 o'clock right now? I just stepped outside. So yeah, so I'm kind of like floating between just basic, you know, making home stuff, work, writing, videos, projects, whatever it is, harvesting, preserving, you know, it's just whatever kind of pulls me. I don't do a to-do list. I just like, what do I feel like doing? And I do. I have a basic idea of each week what that looks like. So I know when we're going to New Hampshire. I know the days that I'm devoted to working on my Sacred Roots circle where I'm doing videos and writing and photos. And then I have like kind of garden days, preserving days, that kind of thing. Well, yesterday I knew that today was supposed to be me going to New Hampshire, but we redid the whole thing and Dave's doing it for the first time by himself because we had an extra amount of time. So if I stay here, I can do all the camp, pick up and drop offs, and he can stay there for an extended amount of time and not rush back. So anyway, I ended up getting a day back. But yesterday, I was driving kids around and all over the place, like all day. And then, you know, I get back from picking the kids up from camp. I mean, it was so much yesterday. I don't even know exactly what happened, but I sat down, it was like 7:30, dinner was done, and I kid you not, one of my kids goes, Mom, can you drive me to my friend's house? And I'm like, I don't understand what's happening. I'm working. Do you see that I'm working? Like, you want me to drive you again? 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 And I kind of got a little, like, not so happy. And then I realized, do I want this kid sitting at home on his Xbox? No. I love that he hangs out with his friends. I love that he does all these things. So I said, you know what? I need 15 minutes. I need to finish what I'm doing. I have an article that I'm writing that I need that's coming up on deadline. I'm like, let me just work on this, and then I'll take you. And then, I don't know, I was up doing edits till midnight, but not because I had to do edits till midnight, because I had a burst of energy. And so I was lying in bed and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna work on this because I'm not tired. And that would be a better use of my time than watching some silly TV show that I've been watching that's just like a little gory and whatever. So I did that. And so it was just one of those days where I was like, I don't get it. Like, where did this day go? How is this day possible? But I tell you what, I had a really good hack yesterday where I happened to have a bag of rosemary French fries in the freezer, and I had some chicken thighs that were defrosting, and I threw those in the Instant Pot with a bunch of sauces, and I put the fries in the oven, and I sauteed the last of our sugar snap peas, and that was dinner. And it was so easy and so delicious and just done. And then actually ended up making a pot of rice after that because the kids ate all the French fries. And so when Dave got back from teaching, he was gonna need something to eat. So I made some rice. So I have leftovers of the chicken and rice for lunch today. Fabulous. I have ADHD, I'm very open about that. And that means that executive function is a difficult thing for me. I have to teach myself ways of doing things that other people with a more neurotypical brain would not do, or would look at and say, that is ridiculous. You are wasting your time. That is not efficient. But here's the thing, it isn't necessarily efficient. It's how I need to do things to get things done. So that's a big one, is like finding the hacks, like finding the way to do something. The other thing is needing a motivation. I need a why. Why am I, so I mentioned keeping the kitchen clean because the kids make their own breakfast. And that is a really good why for me. That is a very good motivation. The other thing is that I started to notice that my overwhelm was directly connected to the kitchen status. This is where I spend a lot of my time. This is the heart of my home. This is my favorite place to be. I love it here. When I can't use the sink, when the counters are filled, when it's just like complete chaos, it is really hard for me. So a couple years ago, we did sort of a renovation, like our own renovation, and we changed things a lot. And the biggest thing was that I need to see things. So we have a lot of open shelving. Can you see back there? We took the doors off. I have my open shelving here as well. That currently has a lot of herbs, well, all herbs and flowers and stuff, but it could change because I change things all the time. So I need to see things, and that was a really big one for me. If I can't see it, it pretty much doesn't exist. And then everything had to have a place. And that means that, like, right now I just did a little rearranging, and these 2 jars that I use to make my herbal teas currently don't have a home, and I'm really bothered by that, and I need to figure that out, because when I go to put away the dishes from the dishwasher, that's my job. Everybody in this house hates doing the dishwasher. I love it because I get to see all my special, beautiful things. I get to like touch my sacred aesthetic, put things on the shelf the way I want them to be. I don't mind that job. So my commitment is I will keep the dishwasher clear. You all must put your stuff in the dishwasher. That is our agreement. So that's a good motivation for me there. But when I go to empty the dishwasher, where I used to have a huge amount of overwhelm, and also the kids, was that we didn't know where things went because it was just higgledy-piggledy, like just stuff. It just, nothing made sense. There was too much stuff, no places. And so a couple years ago, I made a commitment that every single thing in this kitchen would have a place. And so like right now, those jars don't have a place, and I will find them a place. Today, they will find their place. And it's because I put some bowls that I use for like washing the vegetables that come in up here. My jars used to go right there, and I put those bowls up there. So when my kitchen is not chaotic, when it is like really good, I feel really good. And what I noticed is it can take me about 10 minutes to create calm space, you know, clean in the kitchen. Whereas it was costing me hours of stress when things were everywhere. When you have piles of dishes and you have stuff that's not put away and places, things that don't have a place, or cabinets that are full of stuff falling out of them, that costs you hours. The trade-off for 10 minutes, like 3 times a day, because I kind of built this into my routine, morning after, like before I cook dinner and then after dinner. That's 30 minutes total for what was costing me hours and creating a chaos in my body that I just couldn't live with. Some people it's sweeping the floor, some people it's making the bed, some people it's, you know, whatever. I have 2 places, and my places are the kitchen and the living room. So basically I've been in training for the last couple of years on making sure that my home meets 3 requirements. 1, it is my sacred aesthetic. It matches us. It feels like us. It fits my vibe. 2, that it has a place and it goes in that place. Like we put it in that place. And 3, that we're actually using it. There was a lot of stuff I realized that we were holding on to that we weren't really using. And so, yes, you might have a place for something, but if it's not being used, that's something you need to kind of look at and evaluate, because that thing could leave and something else that you do use could take the space. And that's really helpful. During the school year, the kids' job is school. Extracurricular activities, sports, whatever it is that they're doing. That's their job. And we hold them to that job. The other thing that they have that they're responsible for is their rooms. And once a week, their room needs to be cleaned, garbage out, bed made, sheets washed, whatever it is, clothes put away. It's done, they're teenagers, but at least it's done. And they're starting to take a little pride in that. They need to put their dishes in the dishwasher. They all have one thing that they're in charge of, like bringing trash cans out to the curb, emptying the litter box, taking care of one of the bathrooms, things like that. Again, they're at things, but you know, we're getting there. We're getting there. During the summer, it's a little bit differently. I have a few more expectations. So now that some of the kids are working full time, there's, you know, I consider that like school. That's, you got a job, that's your job. And so, you know, as long as they're keeping that room clean and they're doing the basic things that I've asked around the house. Please put your shoes away so the dog doesn't eat them. Please put your plate in the dishwasher. I do a lot of micromanaging, like a lot of micromanaging, and it's somewhat exhausting. I'll just be honest. So it's a very full life, and you see slices. And one of the reasons in the last video that I wanted to show you the absolute mess that it is downstairs is because I am going to transform that space, and it's going to be beautiful. Right now, that space is causing me a whole lot of anxiety and stress because it is fallen into our ADHD routine where things don't have a place, they're not meant to be down there, there's a lot of work to do. So I'm gonna treat that space like I have up here and structure it so that I meet that sacred aesthetic, so that, I have to get my dog. I'll take you out in just a minute, I promise. So we're gonna treat it the same way. And it, you know, everything needs a place, everything needs a purpose. It'll be good. But I spend a lot of time with anxiety about what I need to do. And that's kind of my thing. Like, that is the one thing that I work with. So if I know that one of my biggest things for the day is, can I go to bed with clean dishes, with the sink being clean? And sometimes that means I literally just take the pots and pans and wash them out and set them to the side of the sink, and I go to bed with a clean sink. So I know in the morning I can wake up, easily make my coffee, and then I can wash those pots and pans in the morning. But like, it's that bare minimum. Like, can I go to bed with a clean sink? That's important to me. That really provides space in this mental health, whatever. All right. But yeah, I fall into it. I see people and I see all they do, and I'm like, oh boy, I feel like I could never live up to that. But the truth is, nobody lives up to any of it. We all prioritize and do what we do, and we make what's important important. Laundry will never be important to me. I will just wear the same thing. I will just, whatever. Laundry will never be important to me, but it's important to Dave. And he's really good at doing laundry. He keeps up with laundry. And I'm learning, I'm getting better, but you know what? This is where I take care. This is what I do. So we all have our places. I would never mow the lawn. Dave mows that lawn. He takes care of it. It's what is important to us. It is important to me that I have a flexible work schedule and that I am available for my kids, so I can have days like yesterday where I'm able to be the mom who can drive 6 kids to a pool party half an hour away, and then kind of put down my computer and drive that same kid somewhere else 7:30 at night. Like those are important to me. Those things are important to me. It's important to me that I'm here and I'm making dinner. Dinner is important to me. It's important that even if we're not all eating together, which is not a big priority of mine, that there's dinner. Like that's my commitment. The kids make their, you know, all eat their own breakfast, and then I do help with lunches if I need to help. But dinner is the one thing I have promised. Like that's my commitment. You will have a clean sink and you will have dinner. So, and milk in the fridge and cereal, because those 2 things, they're crazy about those 2 things. Yeah. So I should probably stop talking and move on to my next things. But it's just felt important to me because I think we need to say this over and over and over. We need to remind each other that these glimpses are glimpses. They are glimpses. And you are seeing the glimpses of what each person has deemed important. And if I look at your glimpses, they're gonna look different than mine, or maybe they're similar. Like what makes me feel good? What makes me be able to sleep at night? What settles me in my skin? What brings me closer to the person I wanna be or the life I wanna live, the dreams I have in my head? And usually it's the most simple things. For me, it's the most simple things. It's the presence. Like I actually love cleaning the kitchen now. My 2 year ago self would not have told you that. I love it now. I love that I have a place for everything. I love knowing that, you know, by 7:45 in the morning, it's gonna be a pretty good house to be in, to spend time in. And this has all been, I've had to teach myself systems and learn different ways of doing this because, as I said, executive function does not come naturally to me. It is a very difficult part of my life, but I have committed to it because it feels good. It feels good to me. I am proud of these things. I am proud of making home. I am proud to be the one who like holds this sacred space, this sacred home, you know, spreads her wings and holds this. This is the nest and I am the mama bird. And I love that job. I love that part of who I am. Okay. Enough chattering. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you. Bye. Any more questions? I'm happy to talk about them. Thank you.